everybody ready? Well, thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for being with us. It's been an incredible period of time for the banking industry and all that you're doing for small business. Steve is telling me that it's been literally record-setting, the amount of money that's been done. And if you want, I'll start all over again. I guess they didn't have the mic on. So I'll start all over again. Why not? But I want to thank everybody for being here. It is a great tribute to the banking business. The money that's been done and the money that's been essentially loaned. These are great loans for the banks and they're great loans for small business, and we appreciate it. We're looking forward to speaking with the top CEOs from the banking industry and finance industry. Some of you I know very well and great relationships with. You do an incredible job, respected all over the world. You're the biggest and the best. And we're meeting to further deepen our partnership to help American families, workers, and small businesses during the pandemic, which is something that nobody ever dreamed of. You know, I say it and I say it a lot. We had the greatest economy in history, the greatest economy that we've ever had, the greatest economy that anybody's ever had. And then one day they said, you got to close it down, close the country, because we have to get rid of the plague. And that's exactly what we had, is a plague. And we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. You see it, I see it, and I think we're going to go like a rocket ship once we get back to business. There's a lot of pent-up energy and demand. But I also want to thank Secretary Mnuchin for the incredible job he's done in conceiving many of these ideas. We talked late into the night, and he and his staff have been incredible. Administrator Carranza, Larry Kudlow, and my daughter Ivanka Trump, who just wants to have people working. That's what I gave her, lots of options and what do you like? And she created over 15 million jobs, working with some of you, but working with the biggest companies in the world. They were training like nobody's ever seen, but she started off with a goal of 500,000 jobs, and now she's up to over 15 million. As our nation wages the war against the invisible enemy, we're grateful for the many ways in which your companies have answered the call to join our national endeavor. Thank you for donating tens of millions of dollars. Maybe it's not good equipment, but thank you very much for donating tens of millions of dollars for vital supplies and for supporting small businesses across the country. America's small businesses are the backbone of our communities. When you look, and we hear all about the big companies that we know so well, but the small companies, when added together, are actually a bigger force. A lot of people don't understand that. You do, we do. Our nation's 30 million small businesses employ nearly half of our workforce. My administration will continue to take the boldest action in history to bring immediate relief to the small businesses. So when we open up in a hopefully very short period of time, we're back into business. That's what we want. And we have lots of stimulus. So I think we can actually, with the stimulus and with the pent-up demand, I think we can really do numbers that are equivalent and maybe even better than we were doing before within a fairly short period of time. That's what my hope is. And that's what the hope of many of you are too. As you know, on Friday we launched the Paycheck Protection Program to help small businesses keep workers on the payroll. As of today, SBA has processed over $70 billion in guaranteed loans, which is far greater than we would have ever thought at this time, I think, Steve. I don't think we ever had any number like that in mind. That will provide much needed relief for the more than 250,000 businesses that have applied for these loans, and these numbers will continue to rise quickly. Again, far greater than anything we could have expected. We thank you, and we thank the thousands of employees for responding. And by the way, we're going to be going for, it looks like, a very substantial increase in the number, because we'll be running out of money pretty quickly, which is a good thing in this case, not a bad thing. And Steve will discuss it, but we're in talks to supplement the fund and do more money. So that's the way it's moving. But we're going to help those small businesses receive these loans in record time. And we look forward to hearing about your incredible progress today, because many of you and most of you are going to be speaking for a couple of minutes just to say what you're doing. And we have a lot of media present. The room is loaded up with media, as much as they can considering we have social distancing, we're practicing social distancing. I don't even know when I'm looking, I'm not sure they're practicing it as hard as they should be, but they are practicing it, and there's a lot of media. Our entire society is mobilized to defeat the invisible enemy, save lives, and save jobs. Your companies are playing a vital role in this fight, and I'm very, very grateful to you. And with that, I'm going to ask Ivanka to start, and then Secretary Mnuchin, Administrator Carranza, and Larry Kudlow say a few words quickly, and then we're going to get to you. If you have any questions or anything, would be great. As I said today, we just asked Congress to pass legislation to fund an additional $250 billion for Paycheck Protection Program. So we're going to be raising it up to a new level. And the way it's going, we're going to need that because it's really good. People are loving it. They're really loving it. So I'll start with Ivanka. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for convening this incredible group of leaders in a socially very responsible way via teleconference. And we appreciate everything that you've been doing. Anyone who knows you knows the heart you have for America's small businesses. Over 30 million amazing innovators and entrepreneurs that employ over 60 million people. So just absolutely incredible. And you all have been so instrumental, those that are joining us today, in helping us not only execute in an enormously swift fashion the Paycheck Protection Program, but also answer the President's call. When we began making phone calls a couple of weeks ago to each of you, some of the largest lenders in the country, bankers, credit card companies, we asked you to provide additional relief, private sector driven relief to our incredible small businesses, and you've answered that call. Among the things we've discussed and that you'll announce today include policies that will offer debt relief to your clients and your customers, payment deferrals, forbearance, loan modifications, and outright hardship relief. So we're incredibly excited to have you share these initiatives today. And with that, I'll turn it over to Secretary Mnuchin and Administrator Carranza and Larry Kudlow to share a little bit about the Paycheck Protection Program and the unbelievable lift that your teams have undertaken in just the past week to make it as successful as it is today.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Ivanka. First of all, I want to thank the broad number of banks. We have over 3,000 banks that have been participating since last Friday. That's a combination of community banks, regional banks, and large banks. I just want to thank the SBA and the Treasury. This is a brand new program that got up and running in less than a week. And last Friday, we saw the incredible response. I spoke to the President over the weekend. I told the President, it was so successful that we were concerned we'd run out of money. The President made very clear that we should go back immediately and ask for more money to make sure we can support small business. Every single one of these people that's employed by a small business is one less person that's out of work and on unemployment insurance. And it's one more person that's part of a business so that when we're ready to reopen, 50% of America's workforce is in small business. I had the opportunity this morning to speak to Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Kevin McCarthy. I urged them at the President's request that they get us another $250 billion approved, and we look forward to the Senate passing that on Thursday and the House passing that on Friday. This is much needed support, and we want to make sure that every single small business can participate, and we want to assure the workers that if you don't get the loan this week, there'll be plenty of money for you next week. And this isn't just small businesses, it's charities, it is independent contractors, sole proprietors. So again, I just want to thank everybody for their broad participation.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you. Please.
Very quickly, President, Small Business Administration has a mission of strengthening the economy by assisting small businesses. And Ivanka, you mentioned we have 30 million, absolutely, and I think they're all approaching our phone lines as we speak. But we're also committed to sustaining their resiliency, as well as increasing the number of employees they keep on payroll. And so that's been our mission, and we have not been shy of accelerating and incorporating and also partnering with not only the lenders that are on this telecom, but many of them. We have over 3,200 banks, as Secretary has mentioned previously, And we have about 300 new lenders, so I'm very proud of the lending community and their partnership, so thank you.
Well, thank you, and it's true, the community banks have been incredible. It's really amazing the way they stepped up. They're very happy, and they know many of the people that we're dealing with, so it's really terrific. Larry Kudlow, please.
Thanks, sir. I'll just be brief. I will say that as our mitigation policies have taken hold successfully in dealing with the virus, and as we move to what we believe can be a reopening of the economy in the weeks ahead, we started with a strong foundation, as the president mentioned, and there'll be some transitions, but I see no reason why the second half of the year cannot resume a strong, solid growth rate. I think that's an important point, and I think I want to stay as optimistic as possible on that possibility. And we are coming down, I think, the home stretch. That's what the health specialists are telling us. And I want to add one more thing. The president's whole program, it's the first time in history, it's the largest relief assistance program in American history, by far. And his program has been based on a government, public-private partnership. Every step of the way. We've had everybody here or on these teleconference calls, video calls, whether it's retailers, biotech, pharmas, bankers, transportation, you name it. And that's a characteristic of President Trump's own philosophy that has given us a strong economic foundation. And once we can reopen this thing, I think it's going to be very successful, sir.
Thank you, Larry, very much. And as you know, our dollar, our currency has remained very, very strong. Other currencies are not doing well at all, but our currency has done incredibly well, very, very strong. A lot of assets to that. Sometimes it makes life a little more difficult for going outside of the four walls, but it means that everybody wants to be in, and we find anytime we go out, they just want to jump into our currency. There's nothing like it, and I don't think it's ever been any stronger or better or more powerful, especially relative to other currencies and other nations. I think that's a great thing. It's great for all of you, that I know. Ivanka, please.
Absolutely. I think the foundation of our economy was so incredibly strong until this virus hit, and this is something you recognize. This is something we're hearing from small businesses across the country. This was no fault of their own, and we're going to carry them through this really devastating time, and it will be brighter on the other side because of commitments such as this, public-private partnerships, and because we will come out of this hopefully sooner rather than later. So with that, I'd love to start with Brian Moynihan, the CEO of Bank of America, who was one of the SBA's first partners in implementing the Paycheck Protection Program. Brian, would you like to share with us some thoughts and what you'll be announcing today?
Sure, thank you. And Mr. President, Ivanka, Secretary Mnuchin, Secretary Kudlow, and we are fast at work doing what we said we do. In March 11th, we met with you, a group of banks in the White House. We talked about consumer relief, mainly deferral payments on loans for people and small businesses. In our company, we have 700,000 requests that have been processed since that time in a few weeks. Secondly, as we talked about the time, and my colleagues had the same experience in the month of March, our company extended $70 billion in commercial loans during the month to help companies of all sizes make progress. When Ivanka talked to us, their question was, what else can we do that's discreet to small businesses? And so one of the programs we announced late last week, was work with a group called Community Development Financial Institutions, CDFI, so-called. We did two things there. We're one of the largest supporters of these organizations, which makes loans in the communities throughout the United States. We gave them $10 million in needed operating funds so they could scale their business to help make loans. And then we added $250 million to our $1.5 billion outstanding capital for these enterprises, bringing our capital commitment to $1.75 billion. When we moved to the PPP, Secretary Mnuchin and I had many conversations as our colleagues had to get this program up and running from a start Friday morning around 9:30 or 9:45, whatever it was. We were up to about 250,000 applications on our company. We are beginning to process those through to the SBA. It will take an automated feed, which the SBA team is working hard to get set up, because when it starts coming, it's coming with a lot of volume. We have 3,000 people working to make sure the customers that we serve have the clients, have the documents that needed to ensure they use the proceeds of the right purposes, the right amounts, and we're putting that all through, and we thank both the SBA and the Treasury to how they worked on the program and streamlined it so we could actually get it done faster. The numbers you gave before, I don't think include for us a modest amount of loans that they'll build, and I might have leave that total. We continue to get several thousand applications every